So I want to get rid of the fucking banks. I fucking hate them. They have bad hours. They rip you off. They've gotcha capitalism. They suck, right? We need software, peer-to-peer audited software to replace these people wherever we can. Bitcoin tried to do this. It failed. Bitcoin tried to be a peer-to-peer currency. It failed entirely. It has less Google searches, only 2.8 million wallets with over $1,000 in them, 42% of the currency controlled by less than 2,000 addresses, all of which are over 1,000 balance, which we murder with penalties. Gox has 140,000 coins, who when they dump them on the market or go to Peter Vincennes and Mark Karpeles, who are not anyone's favorite people, plus Token Ponzi that owns 1%, Winklevi Twins that owns 1%. Who else? The exchanges are holding 6 or 7%.
Sure, we don't
it's all
need
fucked up. It's all fucked up, right? I'm fixing every one of those fucked up things, right? Bitcoin inflation bugs come from spaghetti.
In your delusion, you are fixing this.
Okay, I give you facts. You tell me delusion. I'm speaking facts to you. I'm telling you why the bugs happen.
I know what Bitcoin's problems are. How are you actually fixing them? Explain how you are doing that with the currency you are creating out of thin air and selling for Ethereum.
Right. I don't admit to the selling for Ethereum part. We're not going to have the minting argument. If you want to replace time deposits, you have to be able to reward people for locking up their money. There's only two ways to do that. You can inflate the currency, or you could run an order book and try and get buyers and sellers and market makers to lower the bid-ask spread. And that shit barely ever works. It's nearly impossible. It's like trying to start a new eBay. And if it does work, there's some other guy that holds your money, right? Like Celsius or BlockFi. You give them your coins and your keys, and then maybe they give you the money back one day, or maybe they exit scam you, or maybe a judge makes them exit scam you, or maybe, something like this shit happens all the time, right? Quadriga CX, Bitcoin, BCTE, Cryptopia, Cryptsy. I could list you, tons of exchanges that got out of business. How do you get rid of those guys? How do you get rid of centralized counterparties that rob people with fees, like margin trading exchanges? Every single YouTuber on the internet right now only makes money from destroying you with margin. They know that when you deposit, you're going to cycle your balance over enough times until you're wrecked, and they've got to go find new people to feed into the meat grinder. That is not better for the world. That is worse for the world. And making Arthur, who's already got $30,000 in a retirement fund that he calls 30,000 Bitcoin in a retirement fund that he calls an insurance fund, but he doesn't even tell you that the pairs aren't even insured by the same fund.
Okay, Richard, you said
I'm fixing all of that shit. Trustless peer-to-peer interest. Trustless peer-to-peer interest. You in the contract. No middleman.
How are you rewarding them? Charge of it all.
So open source software.
It's not open source, man. You paid to have it developed.
It's different.
You paid to have it developed.
You understand that open source developers receive pay for
their jobs. Listen, man, I've been involved in this for a very long time, as you have. And when you pay someone to develop software, it's no longer open source.
That's not how that works. Blockstream pays developers to write open source software all the time. The majority of open source software is done by paid developers now, and should be, because you shouldn't have to be a fucking broke slave to provide benefit to the world. Nor should you have to be fearful of speaking your opinions about things because you're worried they're going to get choked by the noose of the evil government.
Who's benefiting from it?
Everyone's benefiting from it. Because
everyone, got it.
Let me put it to you this way. If this shit sucked and no one sent anything to it, who was harmed? Fucking nobody.
Who did Satoshi pay to develop Bitcoin?
I don't know. Some people say
exactly.
It's a team.
He wrote it himself. The team wrote it themselves, right?
Okay. You don't understand open source software, but that's fine. Do you know the difference between free software and open? Do you know the difference between free and open?
This isn't about software? Me. This is about you and your control.
Well, I can teach you about open source software if you want to learn.
You're not going to teach me open source software.
Okay. Because tell me the difference between free software and open software. Go. I know and you don't.
Richard, I understand where the disconnect is here.
No, you think that you're smarter than me.
Richard,
you might be in a small domain, but you're not in general.
You're approaching this from...
If we want to serve the audience, we already have learned about 80% as much as we're going to learn from each other. The only benefit or merit that this conversation can have is to elucidate new ideas or new behaviors that might benefit the audience. That's the only good thing that can come of this, right? If I can say, hey, we need more miner decentralization. How can we achieve that, right? If I say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if mining wasn't a protection racket where you're paying the only people that could actually attack you? Whereas in the old days, when it was CPU and GPU, you were paying those miners to protect you from other people that could become miners and fuck the network up. It's not like that anymore. Now it's actually a protection racket. When I explain something that's super, super, super important, like Ethereum is better than Bitcoin now, people just don't listen. I say Bitcoin had 2 critical vulnerabilities that were worse than anything that ever happened in Ethereum. Do you know what people say? They say, Gavin Wood used parity wrong on top of Ethereum and didn't write private. And so someone destroyed his contract because he didn't declare the constructors private. It has nothing to do with Ethereum. Gavin Wood sucked. His software sucked. He didn't write the word private. Ethereum worked fucking great. 5 of the top 11 market cap cryptocurrencies in the world launched on or primarily use Ethereum.
Oh, hold on. If Ethereum is so great, why does it take one afternoon of CryptoKitty trading to bring it to a halt?
It's all blockchains because you trade scalability for censorship resistance. Every blockchain makes that trade-off.
Yes. No. You can't semantically, by adding one little function or claim it's one thing and not another, rewrite the laws. That people have tried to do this for
not true.
Thousands of years have been trying to get away with modifying or getting around the laws. And you think that you think that you're somehow the most creative guy in the world because you're not going to call it an airdrop. Because you say, oh, well, you have to plug an address in and you actually have to push work, so it's not an airdrop.
If the difference between assaulting someone or not is an inch.
Okay? No, actually, it depends on the law.
Battery then. Whatever, right? The difference between legal and not legal really is a fucking razor's edge quite often. Quite often, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you fucked that girl, did you have consent or not? Oh, you had medium consent? Well, let's consult the law book for medium consent. There's no fucking medium consent, right? A lot of shit is kind of binary, particularly since judges have to do this in a time reasonable manner. There's not enough of them. So, you know, when you say that this semantic shit doesn't matter, I would agree with you if the semantics was just a description of a behavior. But when I tell you a different behavior and then you yell semantics, that's not semantics. That's the core of the issue. Who has the control? Who has the control to mint the coins? Who has the control of the inflation? Who has the control? The fucking people with the private keys who ain't me. They're you.
And who enabled them to be able to do that?
The control matters. The enablement doesn't matter. The control matters.
The smart contract that controls all of those elements.
Right. So then Bitcoin developers are securities vendors, right?
No.
Or Ponzi schemers are actually partnered up with Microsoft because Microsoft sold them Excel.
No.
You can't just extend right. Obviously not. I agree with you. Yes. Because you gave someone some software and they fucking used it doesn't mean you're responsible for everything they do in their fucking life. People have to be responsible for their own behaviors. If I give you a pencil and you start jabbing yourself in the face with it, it ain't because I gave you the pencil, man. I can't believe you guys are libertarians. Like, whose fucking side are you on? I'm trying to give people more fucking freedom and the ability to go build other projects with this interesting structure that I've never seen before and that I think fucking works. And you're like, no, fuck that, man. Let the government have the power, bro. Fuck innovation. Fuck security.
Richard, here's the problem.
My opinion is very simple. The design intention of this cryptocurrency is to appreciate. I can't program people to press a green button, but I can give hooks onto things that show to be proven to work in the world, like referrals. I can reduce supply, which is what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin has 2 fundamentals. It let you freemium onboard, double click an EXE, get some cheap ass tokens, and then boom, you invest. That's how Bitcoin got me. And it cuts its inflation rate in half every 4 years, 2 fundamentals. And we have basically the same kind of thing, right? Instead of, if you stake longer than other people, you're being deflated. Your currency is becoming worth more. But if you're not staked and you don't use the truth engine, you don't tell people when you're really going to sell, then you're diluted, right? That's good. That's honorable. That's the time value money. That's awesome, right? If I wanted to onboard the other thing that mining did, in addition to just freemium onboarding people, you have to kickstart a currency and distribute it somehow. You have to have some rubric by which to take a mass of people that are without your currency and distribute it amongst them. And if you don't have identity, which libertarians do not want identity tied to their cryptocurrencies, then you're worried that someone gets the money and pretends to be someone else, and gets the money and pretends to be someone else, and gets the money, right? Like Rhett did with XRP way back when, right? So I don't want people Sybil attacking the network and being paid more than they deserve by acting like they're someone else. And I also don't believe that a poor person brings as much value as a rich person to the network.
But wait a minute.
Oh shit, what? Hold on, what?
Richard. But
I thought you were killing the whales. We're killing the whales to make new whales. It's different.
Wait.
But what I can tell you is all that money that you keep showing on your screen, maybe you wish it was yours. I don't know. You seem to be very interested in that money on the screen there. I haven't looked at it anywhere near as much as you have. It makes me very curious why you care so much, particularly since you're not supposed to expect any work from it. Why do you care what money someone else has that you have no relationship to, you don't know their identity, and you're not supposed to expect anything from them whatsoever? And the only reason you know the address is because you went to a website that had a disclaimer that says, don't fucking expect anything at all. That you're like, no, I won't expect anything. I want to expect more from this guy than other people that I meet.